So if you all aren't a part of a group, that's what happens when you have your group. So be a part of a group. You get all that loving. Yeah. Corey has done nothing but turn me in knots right now. So if I'm a little nervous, I'm sorry. Hey, thank you. So I hope that you're all okay with just kind of talking a little bit tonight, because step 3 is a doozy of a step. It's where, the rubber meets the road, for lack of better words. So we're gonna make this as fun and as painless as we can, but we're gonna hear some truths, and I'm really excited to share it with you. I'm so excited for a pastor who appreciates the power of God in women's lives. I mean, I didn't even know it was National Women's Month until 3 years ago when Corey said, hey, it's National Women's Month. Oh, cool. So March has all the best things for me. Let's see. So I'm a woman, and it's Natural Women's Month. Wait, that's a song, right? It is my birthday month, so whoop, whoop. Yeah, and I am that birthday brat. It's St. Patrick's Day, and obviously I am Irish. So, this is all about me this month. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. And then I'm just going to say, too, about this Celebrate worship. I don't know about you guys, but Corey's right. The rain, there's, of course, Satan. If he knows you're going to talk about God, Satan doesn't like it, so he's going to stress me out, and totally did. And then we hear this wonderful Celebrate worship team leading us in song, and all I could think of is when I hear my weapon is a melody, I'm thinking my weapon is a great drum beat. I wish that drummer was still there, because I am all about the percussion, and that puts a skip to my step all the time. Anyway, okay, I'm done rambling. So step 3. Step 3 is what I like to call the God will if I let him stepping out in faith step. Because I think that the first 3 steps can all be, is a nice little trilogy, if you will, and it can all be summed up in one sentence. I can't, but God can, and he will if I let him. So you heard from Eric, so thankful that he gave the first 2 steps, that step 1 is I can't. And we were honest with ourselves and accepted and admitted that something was just wrong and that we needed help. We couldn't do this anymore. We couldn't live like this anymore. Step 2, God can. We came to believe that a power greater than us could restore us to sanity. And I don't know about you, but when I was in the middle of my, garbage pile, I was insane. And I kept doing everything, thinking one more time something would change, and it didn't. So that leads us to step 3. He will if I let him. We made a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God. Now, this, my friends, is what God gave me. This is where we stop reflecting on our situation and we start to take action. That's what step 3 is. Because we've spent a lot of time in step 1 and 2 going, oh, woe is me. I can't do this. This is hard. What have I made of myself? Been there, done that. And now we're going to take action. So I started reading a lot. I've done the steps, the 12 steps, and started reading back again, reminding myself of things, because I don't care who you are, 12 steps are done every day. And, I thought I could just stand up here and go through point by point of what I've learned, what I've read about the steps, and just give you simple steps to take for you to be able to check off boxes. Steps 1, step 2, step 3, done it, done it, done it. Cool, what's next? Trust me, you want to make sure you're okay with step 3 before you go on to the next steps. It gets harder. But as I kept preparing to talk to you, and I've been praying about this for a long time, I kept writing things down, and I kept reading things, and then what I was writing was just a lot of things that God was putting on my heart. So if it's okay with y'all, I can't believe I just said y'all, I'm just going to be raw and real with you guys for a bit, if that's okay. And then hopefully maybe we can all just learn something from it. Thanks, buddy. I really need this, okay? So I don't feel like quite the fool. Please don't let me be boring to you. Thank you. I was talking to a friend a couple of weeks ago, and we were just kind of talking about how, I can talk to a brick wall, but, sitting here and with something so important, I really don't want to bore you because this is great stuff. So if I start seeing head nods and I go, Jasmine, wake up, don't be mad. I'm just kidding. I'm awake. Anyway, I grew up in church. From the time that I was 2 weeks old, my mom made sure that we were there. So as far as Bible stuff, I knew it. I knew the Bible stories. I knew Bible lessons. I knew that God loved me. It was kind of like, what did you learn in Sunday school? About Jesus. What about Jesus? He loves us. And it was just so I had all that, I knew stuff. But as I started growing older, and as I started making some decisions that weren't the best of decisions, that step 3, that kind of didn't make sense to me. It kind of got hard. Because I was sitting here and I was thinking, all right, God, I really messed up. Here you go. Here it is. And here, fix it. Because you are God. You are great. God is good. God is great. Let us thank you for our food or whatever, all that. And then, I was making it hard because I would say, here, God, here's my crap. Can we say crap? I think we can say crap. Here's my stuff. Fix it. And then if he didn't fix it the way that I thought, or if it wasn't fast enough, or, anything like that, I thought, well, he's got to be mad at me because I've really messed up this time. Because I also grew up thinking if I did this, God was going to do this. If I did that, God was going to do this, And so, even worse, sometimes I would just take things in my own accord. I would just like, all right, you obviously don't want to fix this. You think I can handle it, so let's do this. And that was dumb because that made usually things even worse, right? Does that make any sense? Okay. So here's what I've learned through all the mistakes, through doing the 12 steps, to surrendering to God and everything else that's going to hopefully kind of keep going and making sense with everything. What I've learned and what makes step 3 so beautifully wonderful and simple, yet so hard, is that step 3 is what frees us from the struggle and moves us to the solution of recovery. I'm going to say that one time again because I wrote that down and then I was like, oh, struggle solution. Yes, God. Step 3 is what frees us from the struggle and moves us to the solution of recovery. And here's where step 3 gets a little hard because we can talk about the struggle. We can share with you how dumb we've been and what the mistakes that we've made. But when somebody says, oh, that's cool, you want to get out of it? Here, do this. And then we start thinking, well, really? Is that really that easy? Yup. Because if we don't move forward with step 3, we're going to affect the rest of our recovery. And you may think I'm being a little melodramatic here, but I'm really not, I promise you. Because if we don't move forward, then otherwise we're just going to continue to sit in a jail cell that's wide open because we know how to get out. We've been told this is how you can be free. But we're sitting here with it wide open because we don't know that we trust that outside's really outside if we walk out. There's a lot of outs, but you know what I'm saying. And then, if we do that, then we're just continuing to sit in our own pile of stink and our garbage, acting like victims. And you all may be better than me. I'm preaching to myself because this is what I did. I would sit there and just sit in my garbage and everything would stink. And it was everybody else's fault that I had all this garbage around me and I was keeping it to myself. And no matter what happened, I would just say, well, things keep getting messed up, so I might as well keep my trash, But then I didn't realize that the garbage collector was right there to come and pick everything up if I would let him. And if I would just let go of it. And Jesus, I swear I'm not calling you a garbage man, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, to be that garbage collector. So thank you, Jesus, that this step is so much easier than we make it. So you might be saying, all right, Amy, I'll give. What's the key? What is the key to this? I am so glad you asked. The key is the willingness to believe there is someone greater than us. A willingness to believe that there's somebody greater than us, because God knows he's great. Do you? I mean, and let's be raw and real, and this is what I've been fighting with this year, talking about a hard word. God gave me either or, and it's either you believe me or you don't, Amy. You either trust me or you don't. It is that easy. So no matter what happens in life, I just sit here and go, all right, do I believe the Bible? Yep. Do I believe that God is who he says he is? Yep. Then what you worrying about? You can move on. And I don't know where you guys are. You may still be struggling with step 2. So the thought of turning your will and your life over to God may have you scratching your head or still doubting. And, that's okay. You came here tonight and you keep coming, so keep coming back. And let me tell you why. Because you may think this is all to do with willpower. I've got the willpower. I can do this. I can stop anytime I want to. I can make this decision. I know what's best for me, and all this because, I don't know if you knew that redheads have this stigma that they're stubborn. What? Yeah. So you think that you can do a lot on your own but let me tell you, and I know I have the backing of a whole lot of other people in this room because they're getting ready to shout when I say this because they've got some years of recovery under their belt. No amount of willpower will ever compare to God's power. None. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, let's start thinking. Let's ask ourselves some questions. Self, what areas of my life do I keep trying to change, but I just can't? How is my life affected by trying to control my life? I mean, what's the worst thing that God would ask me to do with my life if he were in control? I mean, come up here and talk to people about how God saves? I'm just saying, it's going to be a lot cooler than what Satan's trying to deceive and tempt us with. So as we rely on God and we surrender to his will for our lives, we free ourselves from fear and stress and anxiety and worry of thinking that we're in this alone. And I don't know if you all have ever thought that. I have, even though I've had people in my life saying, I'm here for you. Just stop doing what you're doing. Quit making life so hard. I'm not trying to make life so hard, Anyway, I forgot. Sorry. Awkward pause. We fear ourselves from the fear and the stress and the anxiety and worry that we have to do this alone or that we're in this alone, but we're not. I mean, we still do our part, right? We still take those active steps to work toward recovery in our lives and even better, just a great relationship with God. But as our faith grows, our willingness to trust God grows, and our part gets easier, and we start to listen better. Because I don't know about you guys, but I thought I had things figured out. I thought I did. Even the worst mistakes, they really kind of weren't my fault. Life just happened. That's not true. That's not true at all. So you may be thinking, all right, I'm willing. I'm listening to you. How do I do this? So let's look at step 3 again, okay? And if you remember it, speak it with me. It's okay. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. Or if you want to look at principle 3, we consciously choose to commit all of our life and will to Christ's care and control. Let's look at these words, and I want you to notice them because these are important. These words are will, not thy will, or not my will, but yours be done, Lord. Our will. Consciously choosing. It doesn't happen overnight or everything else. It's not just like this magic wand, and we're like, okay, yay, everything's golden. We're consciously choosing every day to make that decision to trust God. And so it all starts with a decision. That's fun. All starts with a decision. So I'm going to tell you a little story about decisions and about when step 3 worked for me. Now, mind you, I was reading the steps in daily devotions, okay? But a lot of you know my husband and I have permission from him to talk about him. He's so cute. But I was at a counselor, and this was at the worst time of our lives, of our marriage. You know, my husband had just admitted to being in active addiction. I was quite frankly scared to death because this is when I realized that probably have a problem with alcohol, considering I wanted to numb every bit of pain that I had felt. I had also dealt with just triggers, I guess let's call them that, from my past in growing up, bad decisions with men and everything. So I was going to see a counselor, and we were talking about things, and of course I'm sure I was melodramatic about something, but she had stopped me and she said, Amy, you may get a little mad at me when I say this to you. And I was like, okay, well then why say it? No, I'm just kidding. But she always did that. She always said, you may get a little mad. I don't know if it was the hair or what, but she looked at me stone cold and said, I believe that you really believe it when you tell people that God loves them and that there is absolutely nothing that they could ever do to separate them from God's love. Sure do. I believe that you really believe it when you tell them Jesus died on a cross for your sins. Those sins are gone. He loves you that much. Yes, ma'am, I do. She said, I just don't think that you believe it for yourself. And when you start to believe that, I think you're going to find the healing that you need. And I sat there, and I'm really proud that I didn't cry, because when I was practicing this today, I cried again. That's when I made the decision to believe in my heart that nothing that I had done in the past, no mistakes that I had made, honestly, really, what I would sit here and tell you all really was true for me. And that was a big load off, because to be so little and happy and to be such a good girl for a while, I got really bad and made some really bad decisions. So the next morning after all of that, I woke up and the anxiety starts to go, because, we had lost just about everything. We were losing our home, cars. I had a job. Thank God. Thank you, God, for that job. But that's about all I had. My husband was gone. I was trying to be responsible to keep everything afloat, while he was gone, and take care of everything. But people kept calling. They wanted money. They wanted this. There were rumors. There were that. So I woke up and I could feel the jitters again. And I was like, nope. God, you love me. I'm going to let you love me. I know you love me. And you may think it's silly. You may think it's, just words. But I tell you, my spirit changed and my heart changed. And when people called and they wanted money or they wanted this, I was able to tell them, listen, this is where I am. This is what's happened in my life. This is where my husband is. This is what's going on. And do you know, I'm not kidding, 9 out of 10, I'll even go as far as to say 9.5 out of 10 of those people that I talked to understood, because they've had family who was suffering from addiction, from hurts, from habits and hang-ups. And when you're real with people and you let God lead, mountains move. And they were willing to work. So don't give up. Don't give up on that decision. Daily decision. In Mark 8:34, Jesus tells us, if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. I may offend some of you all when I say this. Deny himself, definition equals cease to make self the object of his or her life and actions. Ow. Right? I mean, how nicely did God say, it's not about you, it's about me. Let me show you what I can do in your life. Let me show you that it really is God, you who bring the glory, and that you really are everything you say you are, and you can do all that you say you can do, that you are greater than the greatest of things, and you are greater than the worst fear that I might have. So one thing that might happen, though, we get this little fire, because I don't know about you all, but I can't help it. I am an encourager by nature. I will annoy you to death to be your biggest cheerleader. If you need a pep talk, I am there for you. All it takes for me is one person to start speaking life, and I'm like, yeah, I am going to climb Mount Everest, and I don't like the cold. But, so here we go with problems. We think we've got a handle on things, and then a trigger pops up. So everything is starting to work out, and everything is starting to be good. Adam's home from rehab, and Adam came home a totally, completely different person. And, he is really funny. He went to rehab, and he's 6'4". He's a big old boy, and he is about 194 pounds when I dropped him off at the airport and stalked him to make sure he got on the airplane. When he came back to me, he found his smile. He was on fire, and he gained he was now 236 pounds of muscle. I was like, well, hello. I still do that, babe. But anyway, that's not the important part. Sorry. He came back with just this whole changed attitude. And so I'm still sitting here trying to figure things out. And all of a sudden I would hear, somebody's calling again. Or great, now we've got to pay this, and this. How are we going to have the money to do this? Because for so long I didn't have money. And I was trying to pay bills, and it would escape me before I could even grab a hold of it to pay bills. And so when I would get nervous again, here is my husband who came home from rehab, and he's all, oh, is my alarm? No, I promise I'm hurrying. He came home, and he was all like, when I'd get stressed, he'd be like, babe, my God, in whose word I trust, my God I praise, I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? Honey, we're okay. We'll just do the best that we can, one day at a time, step at a time. And I'm like, who the heck are you? I wasn't. I'm sorry. I wanted to be. But I was like, excuse me, who are you? I'm the rock. I'm the one that's kept us all together, And then I'm just teasing now because I really did calm down after he said it. But I thought, and I don't care if you're in a relationship, if you're in a marriage, I'm just going to put this out to you right now. The men, the more you hunger for God, the more you thirst, the more you want to learn about God, and the more you tell us what God has put on your heart, the more your woman is going to fall in love with you. So if you want somebody, fall in love with God. Fall in love with God first. But I thought I was the rock in our family, because I had to keep it all together. I was a spiritual one. I was making everybody go to church and everything else. And, I wasn't letting them see me sweat. I wasn't letting them, I wouldn't let them see me fall, because I was the encourager, right? So who is this person now going, oh my God, why are you asking me for money? And then my husband thought he had to be the rock. He had to be the strong one, the silent one. And so when he was hurting, he didn't feel like he could tell me. When he was hurting physically, when he was hurting emotionally, how many times he wanted in our relationship to tell me, honey, I've got caught in addiction, but he thought he couldn't tell me. So, the fact that he was coming with this was amazing. And all that to say is, how did we recover in our lives? And how did we recover in our marriage? We had to realize that we had to turn to the only rock that there was in our family, and that was God. That was that decision. So you've probably been thinking, all right, Amy, you're a nice lady, but you've been talking a whole heck of a lot. So tell me how to just turn it over. I'm going to make this decision. How do I turn it over to God? How's your thinking process? We've got to turn from our old way of thinking. And, it does take practice. It took me practice, every time I wanted to, and I'm sure that it's taken Adam practice and everybody else. We've just got to turn from our old way of thinking, stop believing the lies that Satan's putting in our ears. Our hurt, habit, or hang up probably took some time to get where it did, right? I can't believe I wrote this down. This is funny. We did not start out at the level we were when we admitted we couldn't take this anymore. I'm sure that none of us had one beer and went, whoop, that's it, I need recovery. We thought we were good for a long while, right? So why would we think we could just blink and our nightmare would go away that we created? Somehow we grew impatient, needing an immediate fix to things. I swear, if he hurts me one more time, I'm leaving. I swear, after this one last beer, I just got a party with my friends. This one shot of whiskey, I'm done. I swear, this is the last needle I'll ever see in my life. Or, just let me have that fix and I'm walking right into rehab. That detox me there, right? We got to learn to trust. And that's part of getting rid of our old way of thinking, and that's part of giving it over to God. So if we look, and I'm going to take out my handy-dandy Bible app on my phone. If you don't have that, it's really cool because you got God with you all the time. Or you can go the old way and make your notes. But Psalm 40, 1-3 reads, I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and he heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of our trash, out of the mud and the mire, and he set my feet on a rock. Him. We don't have to be a rock. He's the rock. And he gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth and a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. How many people do you walk around and see and go, man, I wish I were like them. I wish I had that. You can. It's so easy. Let's think. Think about this. Who is the one person you trust most in this world? You got it? Who's your person? You don't have to tell me. We can think. Can I tell you a secret? At some point in your life, that person is going to let you down. I've told my kids this. I love you with all my heart. I am not a perfect mom. Sometimes they don't even think I'm a great mom. But that's okay. Teenage years are over. No, they may. None of us is perfect. We're all going to fall. At some point, everyone on this earth is going to let you down. But can I tell you something else? I know you know it. God is never going to let you down. Ever. Ever. I don't care whatever you read in that Bible, it is God's honest truth. It's his honest truth. He's like, it's my honest truth. Every word in that Bible, his word, his way. He's not going to let you down. He's not going to give you any false information. And when you think God's not there, God's not listening, think again, because you might be thinking and listening to the wrong person. Some of us are caught in the old way of thinking, called it the old way of thinking trust trap, that certain people are what we need in life. But I have to have him. I know that, he may not be the best for me. He may hurt me, but I have to have him because we get comfortable. Some of them may think I have to have this drug or, my life is not going to be the same. But some people may have the best of intentions. Some people may have selfish motives to want to keep you in their life, keep you trapped, keep you holding down, or because they're codependent too. But if we can't open our hearts and our minds enough to say, all right, God, here I am. I believe that you love me. I believe that you have a plan for me. I believe that you are here to see me through this. If we don't believe that, and if we can't say that, we're going to continue to fall. You may be thinking, but Amy, I'm really writing this stuff down. It's hilarious. You may be thinking, but Amy, you don't understand what I'm going through. All right, one, I'm going to say, I bet I understand more than you think I do. Because just because you don't know everybody's story, I bet you every person in this room, somebody can relate to somebody on a deep level. And if I don't, that's what I just said. Two, I'm going to say whatever it is that you're going through. This is my favorite quote in the whole wide world. Are you ready? You're going to want to write this down because you're going to say it to somebody else too. God did not bring you out of the ocean to kick your tail in the sand. He is not going to bring you out and save you out of that water to just bury you in the sand. He's got big plans. And number three, I'm going to say thanks for the segue, because the other part of turning from our old way of thinking is to stop trying to lean on our screwed up way of understanding things and keep learning more about God. Proverbs 3:5-6. You may have heard this. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. We just talked about it. That's cool. Look, there's a Bible verse for what we just learned. And the other part of that, lean not on your own understanding. Why? All right, let's be honest. Let's think about our own. Let's think about our own understanding, because our own understanding left us to hide, to deaden or numb our pain, left us maybe to lie, cheat, and steal to get out of things, right? But God's understanding always will bring truth, will bring healing, will bring redemption, and most importantly, will bring a great comeback story. And if you don't believe me, read these Bible memories. Who doesn't love a good comeback story, right? The more we acknowledge God, the more we're going to see a change in us. Like Corey always says, the more you take those little changes, they're going to one day be big changes. All right, this isn't in here, and I swear I'm ended. But just to let you know, 4 years ago, I told you, we were left with nothing. We had nothing. I had one job. That's it. My husband was gone. He didn't have a job anymore. We didn't have a house. We were trying to find everything. Here we are, fast forward 4 years now. We actually have rebuilt everything that we thought we had lost. So don't ever think that doesn't happen. We have a small group again in our home that people come and they love us and feed us well. One great thing to see too is that people come up to Adam all the time. Now remember, I told you what he looked like before and after. So people would come up to him where he's working now and they'd be like, "Man, you look good. I mean, before you were, are you okay? Were you sick?" And he was like, his favorite thing to say is, "I know, I used to suck." Can we say suck? I used to stink really bad, but then God changed my life. I found him again, and now I don't suck so bad. I mean, it's just amazing what God can do in your life. I love that story. I'm not ever ashamed that you say that to people. The more you start to trust God and lean on him, his understanding, and the old way of doing things just seems so wrong. It just seems, oh, this is weird. Why would I ever think that it would be a good idea to do this, And that brings on a whole new life. We have a whole new life. Some friends we had to say goodbye to, and that's okay. We still pray for them. Some people in our lives didn't want to be in our lives anymore. That's okay too. We still pray for them. We're still nice. But then we got a whole new batch of friends. You want to know who they are? You all are so much family. I don't know how many times we have said, Celebrate is home. Celebrate is where it's real. Celebrate are people who know they are not perfect, but they are finding the real love of Jesus. And that's why I will always love my Celebrate family.